So all you guys have seen the moral panic around the pro-Palestine protesters, and it's only getting worse, right? It's only getting worse. The lies that have been told. Remember when they were holding up a bike chain and pretending like it was a weapon that was going to be used against the cops? Ridiculous. They held up a history of terrorism textbook and acted like the students were using it as a manual to do terrorism, as they do fucking peaceful sit-ins. They've been called anti-Semites and Hitler and, whatever. Just go down the list. Terrorists, every negative thing you can imagine. Well, here we have another example of just how insane and extreme the rhetoric is against these kids and how authoritarian the crackdown is. Here's Alan Dershowitz, Epstein's friend Alan Dershowitz. And he took some time off from getting... All right, I gotta reel it in. I shouldn't be saying this. From getting a hot oil massage. He took some time off from that to say this.
We are going to be engaging in massive defensive and offensive lawfare against bigots, anti-Semites, and potential violent terrorists. We're going to take many, many kinds of legal actions. We're starting a group called Heard a Jew, We Sue You, in which if you send us the name of a Jewish kid, it could be a Christian Zionist too, who was hurt by one of these bigots, we will sue them, and we will get their dorm rooms taken away, and we will take their cars and their boom boxes, and we'll bankrupt them. We will do whatever is necessary under the law in order to bring these lawsuits, bring them successfully, and deter October 7th. Remember, there are people out there who have promised they will bring 10,000 October 7th. That's genocide. 10,000 October 7th is the end of the Jewish people. That's genocide. That's Hitler.
Look at the multiple layers of how unhinged this is. He invokes Hitler, and he brings up these college campuses. He invokes Hitler within the context of that conversation. The only sort of Hitler shit I see is what Netanyahu and the IDF are doing in Gaza. That's where we have 38,000 dead civilians and 16,000 dead kids and 10,000 dead women. That's where over 50% of the buildings have been destroyed. That's where 2 million people are homeless. That's where there's a full, total medieval siege. No food, no fuel, no water, no electricity. That's where people are starving. I mean, the only analogy to Hitler is that. But he says, no, it's within the context of these campus protests. Hitler are the pro-Palestine protesters. And what does he say? We're going to sue them. We're going to use lawfare. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take away their dorm rooms. He says take away their boom boxes. Motherfucker, boom boxes? What are we, in 1999? Boom boxes? Boom boxes? Jesus Christ. Anyway, he says we're going to bankrupt them. We're going to bankrupt them. We're going to take away their dorm rooms, which, he's like, fucking make them homeless, take away all their money. We're going to do, he said, defensive and offensive lawfare. In other words, make people's lives a living hell for having the wrong take on this issue. And by the way, it's the right take, but he would say it's the wrong take. Make people's lives a living hell if they protest Israel, if they're on the side of Palestinians, if they're against the onslaught against Gaza, if they're against Netanyahu. Make their lives hell. Make their lives hell. And he's pretending, just like everybody else, oh my God, this is so dangerous, and there's been so much violence, and there's been... The worst example anybody could point to at all is like a window was broken, and then there was a sit-in at what they renamed Hinds Hall. It was, I think, Hamilton Hall, and they renamed it Hinds Hall. Hind in honor of the 5 or 6-year-old girl who was massacred by Israel after they killed her whole family, and then they even murked the Red Cross people who came to save her. That's the only thing. Oh my God, they broke into a building. Oh my God, they did a sit-in. Oh my God, they have some encampments, right? Like, what are we talking about here? And he pretends like this, Hitler's coming! Hitler's coming! By the way, literally all of the people who pretended like they were free speech champions, free protest champions, they've all become the snowflakiest authoritarian snowflakes you've ever seen. Everything they're offended by, everything they don't agree with, they want to crack down, send in the cops, send in the National Guard, sue them, take away their dorm rooms, bankrupt them, make their life a living hell. A bunch of idiots were like, gee, I wonder why they're covering their face. Why are they covering their faces? Because they don't want to get spotted and then never get a job for the rest of their lives. They don't want to get spotted and then arrested when they did nothing wrong. The cover story was, it's because of COVID, but it's not actually because of COVID. That's just what they're saying, right? But people are like, why aren't they showing their face? Gee, I wonder why. Alan Dershowitz is out here like, I'm going to ruin your fucking life if you are pro-Palestine. Why the fuck wouldn't they cover their face? He says, by the way, lawfare is not a phrase that's ever used in a positive sense. When somebody says lawfare is being done, that means it's like warfare via the law. And there's something implied about it that's unfair. Like it's an unfair type of thing. And he's using it within the context of his own actions, and he's bragging about it. I'm going to do lawfare. That's like saying, I'm going to do warfare. Like, what? So you're admitting you're going to do the wrong thing? Like, what are you talking about? Jesus Christ. I've never seen such a war on free speech and free protest in my life. This is seemingly the one issue that you're not allowed to dissent. And if you do dissent, holy hell gets rained down on you, man. It's crazy. I mean, there wouldn't be this much outrage if people were protesting the U.S. If you're American and you're protesting America in America, there's less outrage than if you protest what Israel's doing. It's absolutely astonishing. And they're wearing it all on their sleeve, man. Oh, and I want to add one more thing to the segment. Look at this. In a call hosted by No Labels, Representative Josh Gottheimer and Mike Lawler spoke to trustees from NYU, Washington University, and more. The representative suggested the FBI could take a bigger role in investigating protests and were the type of thing inspiring the TikTok ban. So in other words, they want the FBI to crack down on these protests. They want to use the power of the state to censor the people who disagree with them. And also, they're saying, look, this is why we did the TikTok ban, because look at how pro-Palestine these kids are. Look at how much Israel can't control the narrative anymore. Another complete admission as to what the truth of it is. By the way, I hope there's somebody out there taking notes on this and following it, because we're going to need to make this argument when the TikTok ban goes to court. There needs to be a lawyer who can lay it out clearly for the judges. Hey, they're saying this is why they did it, to censor pro-Palestine speech. So you can't say this doesn't violate the First Amendment. It definitely does. They're saying it violates the First Amendment, taking away free speech rights because they don't like the opinions. So hopefully it gets overturned in court. But man, what another incredible admission. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.